Robert Spencer here for Jihad Watch. A new Newsweek poll on American attitudes towards Muslims and Islam has found that 46% of Americans believe that the United States is taking too many Muslim immigrants. 32% think that Muslims in America are less loyal to the United States than they are to Islam. 28% believe that the Quran condones violence, and 41% hold that Islamic culture glorifies suicide. 54% are either somewhat worried or very worried about Islamic jihadists in this country, and 52% support FBI surveillance of mosques. Watch now for the follow-up stories about Islamophobia, in which Muslims are going to be portrayed as doing nothing to make anyone suspicious or angry at all. Newsweek itself led this off by asserting in another article published along with the poll that Muslims in America are vulnerable as never before. That story began with an account of a Muslim in Cleveland asking George Bush, "What are we doing with public diplomacy to change the hearts and minds of 1.5 billion Muslims around the world?" As if Muslim fury stems entirely from the actions of the United States. Dawood Abdullah, the Deputy Secretary General of the Muslim Council of Britain, expressed another aspect of this view after the recent jihad plots were discovered in Britain, when he suggested that the religion of the attackers was incidental to the plots. "Let's not create a hypothetical problem," he said. "It can be the work of Muslims, Christians, Jews, or Buddhists." But the connection between Islam and terrorism doesn't come from non-Muslims, as the recent Pew Research Center poll of Muslims in America revealed. 26% of Muslims between the ages of 18 and 29 affirmed that there could be justification in some unspecified circumstances for suicide bombing, and 5% of all the Muslims surveyed said that they had a favorable view of Al-Qaeda. With 2.35 million Muslims in America, that's over 300,000 supporters of suicide attacks and 117,500 supporters of Al-Qaeda. And as for the idea that Islamic terrorism is driven by Western actions, former jihadist Hassan Bout remarked recently that he and his fellow mujahideen used to scoff at this very idea. "I remember," he said, "how we used to laugh in celebration whenever people on TV proclaimed that the cause for Islamic acts of terror, like 9/11, the Madrid bombings, and 7/7, was Western foreign policy." The Newsweek poll should become the occasion for renewed debate about the attachment of Muslims in America to Islamic Sharia law and about the posture of American Muslim advocacy groups toward the U.S. Constitution. It should be the occasion for a new public examination of Muslim immigration and the monitoring of mosques. It should provide the foundation for a new public call to Muslims in America to renounce Sharia and Islamic supremacism and to institute comprehensive programs in American schools and mosques that teach against the jihad ideology and the necessity for Muslims to live peacefully with non-Muslims as equals on an indefinite basis. For the people who are worried about Islamic terrorism in the U.S. today, that would be reassuring, because they are not Islamophobes, and they deserve a realistic appraisal of this problem by their elected officials. But once again, I won't be holding my breath. I'm Robert Spencer.